Well, goddamn, who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Tuesday Night Football Overtime. Bills, Titans. Damn, did you see that coming? I damn sure didn't. 42-16, the Titans, the COVID-19 Titans, destroyed the Buffalo Bills in a battle of the unbeatens. The Bills are unbeaten no more as they drop to 4-1 on the season's. Titans improving. I got the wrong record up there. They're 4-0, not 5-0. But what an impressive win for the Titans as they remain unbeaten on the season. And that's not what I expected in this game. It's not shocking that the Titans won this game. It's the way they won this game. Now, I thought the team that could come out a little sloppy, a little rough around the edges was going to be the Tennessee Titans. And it was the Buffalo Bills. They were the ones making the mistakes. They were the ones with the stupid penalties. They were the ones turning the football over. They were the ones that couldn't get a stop in the red zone. They were the ones that couldn't sustain offense tonight. And for that, they get their asses whooped on national television, essentially, in front of the entire world to see. And if that's your first exposure to the Bills, that's not the Buffalo Bills that went 4-0 to start this season off. So I'll start with Tennessee and talk about the COVID-19 Titans first, and then we'll get back to Buffalo because this is really impressive. And, Ryan Tannehill is so impressive right now, man. I really owe that man a serious 00. Okay. I was wrong about Ryan Tannehill Act 2. This is much more impressive than Act 1, and last year wasn't a fluke. I thought, they're giving him a deal. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sold on Ryan Tannehill being the leader of this team, but he's perfect for what they do. He's perfect for this team. Doesn't throw for over 200 yards tonight. Doesn't have to. They run the football. They're an opportunistic football team. They take advantage of mistakes. They get in the end zone. When he needs to use his legs, you see the athleticism. He used his legs a couple of times tonight to get his team out of a couple of jams. When throws are there, he doesn't miss. Very accurate. Ryan Tannehill has been playing his ass off, man. And this team right here, they are dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Now, this is not the defense that I've seen them play all season long. And I think a lot of what you saw from Buffalo tonight was no John Brown. I hate putting it on one player, but we've seen the difference one receiver can make to an entire offense. We saw it with Jacksonville earlier in the season. We've seen it with New Orleans this season with no Michael Thomas at times. We saw it with Atlanta on Sunday with no Julio Jones. You take a big-time wide receiver in Detroit early in the season without their number one wide receiver, Kenny Golladay. You take a number one wide receiver out of a lineup, and it drastically changes how that team looks. Now, John Brown isn't the Bills' number one wide receiver. That distinction goes to Stephon Diggs. But, John Brown is the really, really good number two in this league. And he's proven to be a dynamic two for the Bills and the guy that usually stretches the field vertically. And they just didn't have that tonight. And Diggs can stretch the football field vertically. We know that from his time in Minnesota. But he's really been working underneath with this Bills team. He's got a couple of deep balls. I remember him going off against the Dolphins and having a deep ball or two in that game. But for the most part, he's been doing a lot of his damage in the short to intermediate game. And they didn't have that ability to stretch the football field vertically. If you've noticed tonight, a lot of dink and dunks by the Buffalo Bills. And you got to credit this Tennessee Titans defense for getting after Josh Allen. Harold Landry with a sack tonight. I thought they did a really good job of forcing Allen to have to beat them. The run game was really not as big a factor as they would have liked it to have become in this game. And with no Jeffrey Simmons, I thought it could be problematic for them. They get Daquan Jones back, and he was huge for them tonight as they were able to really shut down that Bills offense that had been high octane and high flying and high powered all season long. And so this was really impressive by the Tennessee Titans. And 42 points. I mean, I talked about the Bills' struggles defensively this year. Again, I'm not surprised that the Bills gave it up. They've been giving it up a lot this season. But 42 points, it makes a lot of sense, though, when you look at how banged up they are. Two corners out of this game. No Matt Milano, who is one of their better linebackers. They struggled tonight. There's no doubt about that. But you got to credit Tennessee. And A.J. Brown makes a difference. You know, it's amazing. When I look back at those NWOs, remember when they were calling themselves the NWO, nasty wideouts, back at Ole Miss? And it was A.J. Brown, it was DK Metcalf, and I forgot the other dude's name that was there at that time. But they called themselves the nasty wideouts, the NWO, and nobody could stop them in the SEC, it seemed like, till they got to LSU, and they had some problems. But now you look at those guys in the league, and they are tearing shit up, man. A.J. Brown, first game back for Tennessee in about 2 or 3 weeks, and he looked like he didn't miss a beat. Every big throw that they needed, every third down they needed converted, he seemed to be the guy that Tannehill was going to. Josh Norman tried his best to stop him, held him, groped him, molested him, and he still caught the football and got a flag on top of matters. He was outstanding, was A.J. Brown. How about the stiff arm on Josh Norman? Speaking of Josh Norman, it was a rough night for old Joshua R. Norman as he really struggled tonight. Man, that's going to be one of those stiff arms he will never live down as long as he lives. As long as Derrick Henry's in the league, that's a part of his highlight package from here on out. It's forever a part of the highlight package from here on out. He literally took that man and tossed him aside like he was an 8-year-old kid in flag football. Get off of me. Stop playing. All right? These are grown men playing here. You're a little boy. Stop. Stay out of grown folks' affairs. Move off to the side, please. Kindly, can you please escort yourself out of the way? That reminds me of that Adrian Peterson hip toss against the Cleveland Browns when he's running down the sidelines. One of my favorite running back plays of all times. When he's running down the sidelines and he casually stiff arms a guy or hip tosses him to the cooler, stops running, and then proceeds to get back up to top speed and runs for a touchdown. Now, Derrick Henry wasn't as smooth as AD was in tossing a guy into the Gatorade cooler and then reaccelerating and scoring a touchdown. But this was the next best thing, where you essentially tell a dude, hey, get out the club. And he literally tossed him out like he was a bouncer. Get your ass out of here, man. And I told Josh, stop. Don't you come messing around here messing with these folks, man. I told you. You want some too, old Josh? No. Josh better leave those young boys alone, man. And then he had a nerve to get mad after he tossed his ass aside. The next play, they run it out to his side, and Derrick Henry lowers the shoulder on him, and he makes the tackle, not before taking a little bit of a yard ride or so. And then he's fighting with him for the ball, and he's pushing him, and he's getting up, and he's in his face. He's mad. Oh, you mad? Or as a wise man told me, you big mad. I ain't trying to argue with you. No. No. You mad. Why you mad? Why you mad, Josh? Hey, for real, seriously, I'm just joshing, man. I'm just joshing. Anyhow, I digress. He had a rough go of it tonight. The Titans were exceptional, man. Seriously. The COVID-19 Titans are not to be slept on. And, you know, I've done my best to try to give this division to everybody but the Titans. I got to stop with that nonsense. It's time to give the respect that is deserved to the COVID-19 Titans. They are legit. And it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke. They had guys out tonight. They haven't practiced seriously in almost 2 weeks. And they were by far and away the sharper team. They were well coached. They didn't beat themselves. They didn't make the mistakes the Bills made tonight. I mean, we can make a ton of excuses for Buffalo. This guy's hurt. That guy's not playing. You can make a ton of excuses. This guy's out. That guy's out. No, neither one of our starting corners, one of our best cover linebackers, is out. It doesn't matter. The Titans had guys out in this game. They haven't practiced for almost 2 weeks. They've had to do this over Zoom. And they came out and they whooped your ass. So, I've always said this. And I remember at one point there were fans calling for the head of Mike Vrabel. I've always said, I love Mike Vrabel as a head coach. I really do. I think this guy is phenomenal as a coach. He gets it, and his team seems to get it. And this was amazing. Again, I didn't see this one coming. I watched this Titans team struggle with Minnesota offensively. I watched them struggle to stop Jacksonville. So I wasn't expecting Buffalo to have issues, even though I know John Brown was out. I still thought they would be able to move the football, score touchdowns, make this a competitive game and win ultimately. And not only were they not able to do that, they weren't even close in this game. This was a thorough ass whooping throughout. The score is indicative of how this game felt throughout. Even though at one point, I think Buffalo had cut this to a 28-16 game, I think. I don't even know why the hell they went for 2 in that situation. Just kick the damn extra point. What are you doing? But that's nor here nor there. This score feels like how this game felt watching. I never felt like they had a chance. After halftime, I was like, hey, you need to stop. And I think they got the stop, and then we got another turnover. We got an interception. And that was pretty much all she wrote. I never really felt like they were going to win this football game. They had times where they stopped Tennessee. Oh, roughing the passer. Okay, give them a new fresh set of downs. Good job. And they took advantage. Touchdown. They did it again late in the game. About to get off the field. Force a field goal. Oh, roughing the passer. Appreciate it. We'll take it. Touchdown. I mean, just 3rd and 17, and you're going to come with all-out pressure and allow Raymond over the middle of the field on a slant for a 19 and a first down? Like, what are you doing? Seriously. You don't have any of your starting corners. You're going to go man-to-man across the board, press coverage on a speedster like Khalif Raymond so he can beat you off the line of scrimmage, get a perfect ball from Tannehill, and convert a 3rd and 17 when all they were looking for was 7 or 8 yards to get into better field goal range? That's the kind of night it was for Buffalo. They just didn't do anything right tonight. Whether it's the turnovers, first possession of the game, you throw a pick. It's not a good ball from Josh Allen, but it shouldn't get picked off. Got to know who you're throwing that one to. And then later on in the game, he wants to make a beautiful sideline catch, but can't catch the ball behind him. Allows that to carry him off his arm. Washington football fans know about that all too well with old Andre Roberts. Throws another pick later in the game. I don't know what was going on that pick. Right to Butler, who had a monster game, 2 interceptions, and almost took the second one back to the crib. That was a hell of a return. Just an abomination of a game by the Bills, and equally as impressive for the COVID-19 Titans. They were the better team tonight. They proved it, and they stomped a mud hole in the Buffalo Bills. And as I mentioned, they're not 5-0, they're 4-0. Got the wrong record on the screen, but they're still among the unbeaten. And that number has been reduced from 5 to now 4 teams unbeaten in this league. The Titans, the Steelers, the Packers, and the Seahawks are your 4 unbeaten teams left in the National Football League. As for Buffalo, really not much to say on their behalf in this game. Really disappointed in the effort put forth by the Bills tonight. Too many mistakes, too many turnovers, too many penalties, just too many mistakes against a team that didn't need your help. They were undefeated coming into this game. It's not like this was the Little Sisters of the Poor that could use all the help they could get. This was an undefeated team, at home no less, with fans in the stands. They didn't need your help. And you decided you were going to give them every opportunity to not only win, but beat your ass. And so they took it. And Allen wasn't sharp tonight. Made some mistakes. And he did some good things too. That one of those early drives, I think it was the touchdown drive early in the ball game when they were down. I want to say it was 14-0 at that point in the game. Might have been 7-0. But he takes them down the field on that drive and used his legs to extend a play. Picked up a 3rd and like 8 or 9 or 7 and scrambled. I mean, he was great, early. And he showed you some of the things that just takes your breath away. The touchdown pass, the last touchdown of the game, where he rolled it out to his left and kind of buys time. Could have took Cole Beasley underneath. He was open on a crosser. He's like, nah, I'm going to turn that down, and I'm going to throw a 40-yard rope to TJ Yeldon in the back of the end zone with coverage swarming around. Like, Allen is a freak. He really is. But He can also make mistakes, and you saw that tonight. And that's the thing he's been avoiding this season, is the big mistake. He's fumbled now, but in terms of throwing it to the wrong color jersey, he's avoided that. He didn't tonight, and it really hurt his team. Those turnovers were massive. Those penalties on third downs where the Titans are going to have to settle for field goals, they were massive. Too many mistakes by the Bills tonight. Too many mistakes to think you're going to beat a team that was on your level coming into this game as an undefeated team. And so that was impressive. And the Bills are still a good football team. Don't get it twisted. Don't leave tonight thinking, oh, that 4-0 start was trash. They're paper champions. New England's going to come and get them for the division. Don't think that at all. This is still a good quality Bills team. They've got some flaws now. Defensively, I'm still not sold on them. They've got some things to iron out defensively. I worry about them on that side of the football. Even when they're healthy, they still weren't playing great football early in the season. So I worry about them defensively, but they're going to be just fine. They're going to be just fine, are the Buffalo Bills. So let me get to some comments. And I got a couple super chats, so I'll knock those out first, and then we'll get out of here. 61 Livy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, 61 Livy. 61 Livy writes, short field all day for the Titans. From the first drive, a lucky interception. If we only had Trey, I think this game's different, but I digress. LOL. So disappointed with all the mistakes by my Bills tonight. Me as well. I as well. Really disappointed with all the mistakes because I really like this Bills football team. I've taken a strong liking to them because I'm a massive Josh Allen fan. You guys know how I feel about him, how I felt about him coming out of Wyoming. And I think this guy's maturation and growth is it's on that same level of Tyreek Hill, who came into this league as a raw return man that could give you a little something as a receiver and then morphed into this tremendous wide receiver that can run routes and do everything. And I said, I don't know if I've ever seen it. His ascent. I probably shouldn't say this because Kawhi Leonard is one of the best players in all of the NBA. But Kawhi Leonard grew as a basketball player from the time he got into the league to where he is now. That's not the guy that the Pacers drafted and traded to the Spurs for George Hill. Like, Kawhi Leonard grew as a player and became one of the dominant. Only thing he had was the fact that he had huge hands and he could play ridiculously good defense. Everything else, he learned. The touch around the basket, the ridiculous mid-range game, stretching it out to the three-point line. All of those things came as he got better and he continued to grow as a basketball player. Josh Allen just came into this league with great athleticism and a big arm. Everything else, he's kind of gotten as he's continued to learn. And so I've been amazed at his growth and the track that he's taken to this point. And yeah, I was really disappointed by some of the mistakes made tonight. But, you're going to have games like this. You're not going to be at your best every single week. You just hope that they're not 42-16 ass thrashings. But you're not going to have your fastball every week. And you didn't have it tonight. And maybe playing on a Tuesday threw you off. I'm not making any excuses. You just weren't the better team tonight. Simply put, too many injuries, too many mistakes, and you get beat. Thank you for the super chat, 61 Livy. Got one from Vincent Coe, but I digress. That is starting to take on a life of its own. It's becoming somewhat of a cult hero around here. It's getting a cult following. But I digress. Twin D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Twin D, who writes, LT, I want to thank our old friend Josh Norman for his contribution to my 11-3 week this week. Man, I stunk it up. It was rough for the kid. I believe I ultimately went like 8-6 this week. 9-5, I believe. I think I went 9-5. I might have went 8-6. It was rough for the kid. A rough go of it. Lost this game tonight as well. Lost the Thursday night game. Lost the Chiefs game. Lost the 49ers game. What else? I lost the the Colts and the Browns game, lost the Falcons game. That was a dumb move by me. For some reason, I got this soft spot in the corner of my heart for the Falcons. That it's dead now. That shit is black, and it's not coming back this year. I'm not messing around with the Falcons anymore. But I got what I deserved. You know, you ask for trouble, you get trouble, and I got what I deserved this week. And so, Josh Norman says you're welcome. Good old J No still helping you out, even though he switched teams. Thank you for the super chat, Twin D, and hell of a week, because this was not an easy week to navigate. 11-3 is a pretty damn good week, if I may say so myself. Reese says, always thought Tannehill was good. He had crap to work with in Miami. It wasn't always all bad. He had Jarvis Landry. He had Devontae Parker. He had some talent out there at times, man. For whatever reason, you know, sometimes guys just need a change of scenery. You know, injuries got the best of him at times in Miami. There were times where he was playing some good ball. Remember one year he helped them in Adam Gase's first year in Miami, as a matter of fact. Tannehill played exceptional, and they went to the playoffs, if you remember that year. You know, Tannehill's had some stretches where he's played some quality ball, but his problem was consistency and health. And, you know, when you put that burden of a guy being your first round pick in the face of your franchise, and things don't work out right away, and people start labeling, you know, that player a bust, it wears on you mentally. It's mentally draining. You know, I'm watching Nelson Aguilar right now, and he looks like a totally different guy. You know why? Because that stench of being a first-round pick that didn't cut it in Philadelphia, where everybody's talking about his hands and he can't catch and this, that, and the third, that's no longer there. Those Raiders fans, they don't have any expectations of Nelson Aguilar. They didn't draft him in the first round. They're not looking at this guy like a bust. They're not telling him he can't catch. They're excited about Nelson Aguilar, and he's delivering for them. And sometimes that's all it takes, is for you to go somewhere else where they don't know who you are. Where the expectations aren't through the roof, where you just get to be another guy. Some guys can't handle the pressure of being a first-round pick. They just need to blend in. And I'm looking at Tannehill, and maybe he just needed to find the right home. Maybe he needed to find a team that actually loved him. I don't think the Dolphins ever really loved him. Gregory Lightbody says, where do you see Le'Veon Bell going? I don't know. That's a great question. I always feel like guys like him, you can always go back home. But his exit from Pittsburgh was so toxic. There's no way they want to climb back up that Le'Veon Bell tree again. So it's got to be a team. You know, the perfect place for him would have been New England. But they got 97 backs already. They don't need any more. From what's my man name? Rex Burkhead. They got the Alabama kid, Harris. They got Sony Michel. They got James White. Like, they don't need any more backs in New England. But that's the perfect place. A guy that seems to be a malcontent. Everywhere he's been, it's been a bad exit. And you're thinking, man, can anybody control this guy? And you go to New England and he straightens up and plays great football. Like, that would have been the perfect spot for him. I honestly don't know who could use a back like Le'Veon Bell right now. I'm thinking about all these teams in the league, and no team is really hurting at the running back position per se. I can't think of one team that could use Le'Veon Bell right now. And you know what's interesting with the NFL right now is, unless injuries take effect, like the Giants would have been a great spot for him 2 weeks ago when they signed Devontae Freeman. But I think they're good at running back now. Maybe the Giants come calling. But what's really been interesting for me in the league right now is, like, at certain positions, teams aren't really, like, hard-pressed to come after you unless injuries really take effect. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, Eric Berry got released by the Chiefs, and I was thinking, man, Eric Berry's going to catch on with somebody, and he's going to resurrect his career. Never got another sniff in the league. I said, man, Earl Thomas is going to sign somewhere, man. Somebody's going to get Earl, and Earl may be a head case, and he may come with a lot of baggage off the field, but if he lands in the right spot, he's not the same Earl that he once was, but he can still help somebody. Earl ain't found work yet. And I'm looking around at Le'Veon Bell, and I'm saying, you're a malcontent. The Jets are terrible. They're void of talent. They're 0-5, and they saw fit to move on from you and couldn't wait. They couldn't get rid of you fast enough. We're in the middle of the season. When do guys get released in October? When have you ever seen that happen? It doesn't. That means he was so toxic that they said, we just got to get your ass out of here. You can go anywhere, but you can't stay here. Teams aren't looking to pick up a headache in October. So it'll be interesting to see what team could use a veteran back that has had trouble staying healthy, that seems to have issues blending in and fitting in and just being one of the guys. So I'm fascinated with that. We'll talk about that more tomorrow on the podcast, though. I don't know where the hell he lands, to be honest with you. Got another super chat. This one is from Twin D again. Or first of all, I got an Atypical Brother. Thank you for the super chat, Atypical Brother, who writes, what up, Lou? Shout out to Josh Norman for being the Josh Norman of Washington this game. Hashtag Derrick Henry. Absolutely. It was so much fun watching Josh Norman do the whole, I didn't do anything. Pass interference after pass interference. Spitting for no reason just because. Trying to scratch spit off of his tongue just so he can spit. Why are you spitting so damn much? Nobody needs to spit that damn much. It's just a nervous habit, I think, that he has. Getting dump trucked and thrown out of the way like yesterday's garbage. He forced a fumble last week, though. He's still doing that. Thank you for the super chat, Atypical Brother. Got another super chat from Twin D. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Twin D. As always, greatly appreciate you. Who writes, in addition to I digress, my mom also gets a kick out of when you say, nor here, nor there. That's my favorite one. Nor here, nor there. She said she needs to know who's the wise man and woman who are dropping those gems on you. LOL. Oh, I have plenty of them. They are so wise. And I just try to soak up all the knowledge I can from them, man. A wise woman once told me you learn more by listening than talking. So I just try to listen. When I get around the old heads and the people with all that knowledge, I zip it, man. And I just soak it all up. And so they give it to me. And then in turn, I give it to you. They bless me. So then I turn around and I bless you. It's the gift that keeps on giving, So anytime I can impart knowledge and drop gems on your melon, I try to. And the only reason I'm able to do that is because somebody dropped that gem on my melon first. So, all right, tell your moms I appreciate her too, man. Big ups to moms. Twin D mom. Really appreciate her. Thank you for doubling up, Twin D. Anyhow, I digress. Let's get to a couple more comments. Let's see. We are at the 30-minute mark, so we've got some time here to rip through some more comments. Lurts of Orthanic says, did you have to Photoshop a fresh logo for your Tuesday Night Football thumbnail? He said, only the third Tuesday night game ever. Wild year. No, I mean, it was a simple change. It was a simple fix, Delete 3 letters, insert 4. You know how that goes. So it's an easy fix. But yeah, I don't want this ever again, but we're probably, the odds are right now that we're going to get 1 or 2 more of these Tuesday night games. I guess once baseball is over and there's nothing else to watch, I probably won't be complaining about it, but I hated the fact that I needed to switch back and forth between the baseball game tonight. Like I would have just rather enjoyed the baseball game, not have to keep flipping back and forth and then going back and watching what I missed and all of that good jazz. But I'm not complaining. I told you I don't turn down any free football. And this was free football. I would have had to go back and watch this on the Game Pass if this game were played normally in its 1 o'clock slot on Sunday. Instead, I got to watch it on a primetime setting. I'm not turning that down. Reese says, it's becoming a trend to go elsewhere and be a backup. These guys are willing to go and sit, and then when their opportunity comes, they seize it. That's what Tannehill did. We'll see if Mariota can do the same thing. I mean, usually the story doesn't end this way for a guy that used to be a starter. Normally, after you get, those 4 or 5 years to start in one place as a first-round pick and it doesn't work, you go elsewhere and you back somebody up and you just become a career backup, and it's okay. You're a former first-round pick, and everybody acknowledges that once upon a time you were thought to be this tremendous talent, but now you're a backup quarterback, and that's okay. But it's amazing what this second act has been for Ryan Tannehill. So it's amazing because normally when you are a former first-round pick and you flame out where you were first drafted, your career looks like Robert Griffin III's, where you're a backup now. And that's what you are. Like Marcus Mariota's in Vegas. You're a backup now, and that's what you are. But Tannehill went to a place, and credit to him for, I don't know, I can't say credit to him. I don't think he picked Tennessee. I think they traded for him. Either way, he was in a perfect spot. He couldn't have landed in a better spot because he knew, and I don't know, like I said, I don't think he picked Tennessee. I think they went and got him. But whatever the case may be, he couldn't have picked a better spot because their quarterback situation was never rock solid. And he knew at any point, for one, Mariota wasn't lighting it up. And two, Mariota's got an injury history that even if Mariota was playing well, at some point he was going to get hurt because that's what Marcus Mariota does. So he knew his chances of playing were going to be exceptional, very high. And he got his opportunity, and he didn't miss. He took full advantage, and he hasn't looked back since. Got a super chat here from Atypical Brother. Double up. Thank you, Atypical Brother. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, double up. Double up. Says the Titans. This game really solidified themselves as being a good team, but do you see them as contenders or pretenders? I think this game for me kind of pushed me over the edge. I was kind of teetering like, I still don't know about Tennessee. I'm not really buying what they're selling. But the COVID-19 Titans tonight, I think they pushed me over the ledge now. I'm a believer. This football team's for real. Last year wasn't a fluke. They gained so much confidence last year. Tannehill's the right man for the job. Derrick Henry's a stud back. A.J. Brown's a legit number one. They got, everything that they need. They got a speedster in Khalif Raymond. They got tight ends that can do some things. I think Ferkser's a really underrated tight end. Jonnu Smith's starting to come into his own. All the pieces just fit in Tennessee. They just fit perfectly. I still got questions about their defense. Not really sold on that part of their team, but they do enough defensively. They're dynamic enough offensively. They don't turn it over a ton. They don't make a ton of mistakes. They don't beat themselves. They're well coached. There's a lot to like with the Tennessee Titans, and I'm sold. This is a good football team, and they're not going away. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up, Atypical Brother. Let's see. Jordan Like the Goat says, when is Gase getting fired? Well, a couple of weeks ago on Thursday night, he got the dreaded vote of confidence that he wasn't going anywhere and that they weren't going to fire him in season. Again, that's subject to change. At any point, they could say, you know what? This is really not working out for us, Adam. You got to go. You're causing more problems than you are helping his team. But damage is already done. He's run off, as he did in Miami, he's run off free agents. He's gotten rid of vital parts. And just like he did in Miami, he left the organization in much worse shape than when he got there. The Jets were terrible when he got there. They're now horrendous when he leaves. So he's great at taking a franchise and tearing them down to their core so that the next guy absolutely has to build them back up. And that's what they had to do in Miami. And you see that project is going really well after literally having to strip that thing down, having to trade former first-round picks and get rid of guys that didn't want to be there. There was a mass exodus in Miami. And if you didn't want to be there, Brian Flores and Chris Greer, they were getting guys the hell out of there. Oh, you don't want to be here? Don't worry. You'll be gone by tomorrow. Give us some time. We'll get you out of here. You just hold tight. And they were moving guys left and right. Kiko Alonso and Drake and Minkah Fitzpatrick. The list goes on and on and on. They, Jay Ajayi. If you didn't want to be there, they were moving guys. I don't know if they were Jay Ajayi. I think he was before they got there. But Kenyon Drake, they were moving guys. But I think Gase is gonna be the next guy to get fired. I sincerely believe that. I don't see him lasting this entire season, even though they said they're not gonna fire him in season. He's a clown. I just don't see how he continues to keep his job much longer. Reese says, Derrick Henry told Josh Norman, "Excuse me, bitch," with that stiff arm. Yes, he did. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Louie Anderson's show, Life with Louie. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that show. I used to love that show, even though I didn't never watch it. I just loved his voice on that show, and I just loved the intro song. It's Life with Louie, 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 Louie. And it was just one part of that show. I don't know how I caught it, but I did. And every time someone catches a stiff arm like that, I always think of the one time when he was getting bullied at school, and the guy would take his lunch money. He said, "No, I don't want to give you my lunch money." And I just felt like Derrick Henry was like, "Hey, Josh Norman, give me your lunch money." And Josh was like, "No, I don't want to give you my lunch money." And he said, "All right, fine, I'm going to take it." And he tossed him aside after he took his lunch money. That's what that looked like to me. Anyway, I digress. Next one is from Ree. He says, "There's nothing like a good stiff arm. It's become a lost art in the league." I agree. I nitpick with guys who don't know how to switch ball hands. And so, when a guy's coming near them and they got the ball in the wrong hand, you can't defend yourself. LT had a firm stiff arm. They're so rare now. Like you said, it's a lost art. Guys don't know the importance of a really quality, strong, stiff arm. If that's timed up well, you can make a guy look really silly. And, I had perfected, how to beat a stiff arm. A lot of guys don't know how to, and because they don't see it enough, guys don't know how to beat a stiff arm. Those veteran players, right around the end of the 90s into the 2000s, they were getting hip to that. You know what they started doing in the early 2000s into the mid 2000s? They started slapping that damn hand. Now, get that shit out of my face, man. They would either do that or they would take that arm and they would rip that shit. And so guys, I feel like guys just stop stiff arming. It's a lost art, man. You got a good stiff arm, you can do some serious damage. Jordan Light the GOAT says, "I see Washington, the Jets, Giants, and Falcons in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. What do you think?" Right now, of course, those are the easy teams to. That's low hanging fruit. You just named 3 teams that are that are winless and 1 team that has 1 win and has looked terrible. So those are easy teams to name. They're low hanging fruit. But remember, the Giants and Washington play in the same division, and it just happens to be the worst division in football, which means more likely than not, they're going to win some games. So the Jets don't have to win anything. Neither do the Falcons. Their divisions are tough. They don't have to win a damn thing in their respective divisions. Meanwhile, it's almost impossible for Washington or the Giants to go winless in their division. Washington already has a win, their lone win of the season in the division. So it's going to be hard because the teams in the division are so bad that those teams are going to win at least 2 games more likely than not in their division. So hard for me to see either one of those teams winning the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes, if you will. But the Falcons and the Jets don't have to win anything. They could go 2-14 easily. Thomas Rice says, "You better, Louie T. My Titans are the real deal, and we just had 13 players out and whooped ass and hasn't practiced for 13 days." Look, man, your Titans, they showed me something tonight. I was not expecting what I got tonight. I am a believer now. I wasn't before. Again, it's not like I thought the Titans were going to stink. But I was looking for reasons as to why they weren't going to get it. Oh, Ryan Tannehill's not for real. Oh, this defense isn't as good. Oh, this offense can't score with the best of them. Oh, the Colts are going to find a way. Oh, the Texans did. Oh, no. No, they're going to win this division. As long as they stay relatively healthy, they're going to win this division. And they showed us last year that they're not afraid. They got the ingredients necessary to go beat Baltimore, to go beat Buffalo, as they just showed us tonight. They showed us they're not afraid to go toe-to-toe with Kansas City. Don't sleep on the Tennessee Titans, man. The COVID-19 Titans are not to be tampered with. They're not to be played with. Reese says, I think L.B has some quality ball left in him. What do you think? I agree with that. Again, we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but I agree with that. Emperor Meat says, why Henry do that boy Norman like that? Norman got thrown down like a little ass boy. And I pulled Derrick aside a little later on in the game, and I said, come here, Derrick, man. Come here. Come on. No, come here, man. Come here. And he knew what I was about to say to him. That's why he didn't want to come. I said, come here, man. Why the hell you do that man like that? That man got family at home. He got a mama, a daddy, sister, brother. Come on, man. He got family watching this. Don't do him like that. He said, I know, man. I'm sorry. I said, don't be sorry. Be careful. You got to be more careful, man. Don't be sorry. Be careful. Got another super chat. And it's from Atypical Brother. My man, Atypical Brother. Thank you for tripling up. Greatly appreciate you. Atypical Brother, who writes, Derrick Henry is the new Debo for stiff arms. That's my stiff arm, punk. Side note, is it true that Haskins is on the trading block? I cannot confirm nor deny this, but the answer is yes. It is true that he is on the trading block, and if a team came with an offer that Washington felt like was fair and equal value for where Dwayne Haskins is and what they value him as, they would move him right now. No questions asked. So, yes, I can't confirm nor deny that again. But I would go out on a limb and say, yes, he is officially on the trading block. For anyone that wants him, he can be had for the right price. Don't ask me what that price is because I do not know. See where we are. Yeah, I already said Derrick Henry out here, Debo and cats. I asked Josh Norman, you want some too, old Josh? No. So, yeah, he's definitely Debo and cats out here, man, for sure. For sure. Let's see where we left off at in the comment section. Kevin the PRF says, Buffalo better get it together. 5 out of the next 6 games, they're going to be going in as the food. I find it hard to believe that in their next 5 out of 6 games, they're going to be looked at as food. Who are they playing? I mean, they're not 6 teams. They're not 5 teams definitively, demonstratively better than Buffalo, where the odds makers are going to just be like, hey, Buffalo, I'm sorry, I can't help you. We got to make you a 4.5 point dog this week. Like, I can't see that. So who are these 5 teams? You know what? You've gotten me interested enough to look it up. So I'm going to look up Buffalo's next 6 games because you've intrigued me now. They got home for the Chiefs. Okay, that's one. Jets, that was the one I'm assuming that you said that they weren't going to be. Patriots, they're not going to be looked at food as food in that game. Seahawks, at home. These games are at home. I know it doesn't make that big of a difference, but Chiefs, home. Seahawks, home. At least that gives them a little bit of an advantage, but you're right. That could be a problematic game. They're not going to be looked at as food in that Cardinals game. They're going to go to Arizona and more likely to not beat them. In the Chargers game, that they're going to be the favorites in that game as well. They're going to be just fine. I'm looking at this schedule. You scared me for a second there. Looking at this schedule, the Jets are a winnable game. Patriots a winnable game. I mean, the Seahawks don't scare anybody. They're just really good. The Chiefs, they're vulnerable. They just showed that they're not invincible. The Cardinals are beatable. The Chargers, we know that they're a tough out, but they're beatable. Then they get the 49ers. The Steelers are going to be tough, but they get the Broncos. Like, they're fine. They're fine. They'll be okay. No doubt about it. I'm not selling my Buffalo Bills stock. That's for damn sure. Reese says, Mike Vrabel once said he'd cut off his own nuts if it meant winning a championship. He's absolutely insane, and I love it. I mean, did you see his house for the draft? That tells you all you need to know. He's definitely insane, and so is his family. Guy is nuts, and I love Mike Vrabel. I do. I think Mike Vrabel is a hell of a head coach. I've said it many a times, even when things weren't necessarily going right. And you know, it's crazy to say that because Mike Vrabel hasn't had a losing season in Tennessee. He's been 9-7, and I think he made the playoffs this year for the first time, missed it the year before. But the Titans fans were getting upset. You know, they were getting tired of being 9-7 every year. And this year, they're not going to be 9-7. Let's see. Reese says, Mike Vrabel looks like Ryan Reynolds if he was on steroids. I don't see that one. I get the resemblance just a teeny tiny little bit, but you know what people say when I say stuff like that? And I hate this. They say he favors that he favors Ryan Reynolds. I hate when people say that. That means I don't agree with you. Well, then just say I'm wrong then. He could favor him. No, either he looks like him or he doesn't. Get the hell out of here with that favoring crap. I don't think he looks like him. Kyle Little says, when the Bills gave up a 28-3 lead to the Rams, I thought it was because the Rams offense was just that good, but that defense needs some help. No, the Bills have some issues defensively. That's for sure. In that particular game against the Rams, there was no Tremaine Edmonds or Matt Milano, and I was shocked that they even jumped out to the 28-3 lead, to be honest with you. So, you know, when they gave up that lead, I wasn't surprised. I just was surprised that it took the Rams as long as it did to get on track. I didn't expect them to give up, 29 unanswered though, and fall behind after having a 25-point lead, midway through the third quarter. That's not what I expected, but you got to give the Rams some credit, and you got to also understand that the Bills right now are not the defensive team that we've gotten accustomed to seeing them be the last couple of years. They've got some issues to iron out on that side of the football, for sure. JP says, still pisses me off that we missed out on Tremaine Edmonds. I don't like to think about it anymore because, what's done is done. You can't cry over spilt milk, but you know how I felt about that whole situation. I've been down that road so many times. I don't need to go back down there, but you know how I feel. Jake Butler says, do you see the Titans being a Super Bowl contender? I do. I sincerely do think that the Tennessee Titans have what it takes to be a contender. They showed us last year that they're not afraid to go on the road, in somebody's house, into somebody's fridge, into somebody's pantry, and disrespect them in their house. They're not afraid to step in a bunch of muddy puddles like Peppa Pig, run through your house and your white carpet, go through your fridge and into your pantry, upstairs on your bed with those same muddy shoes, and defecate on your pillowcase. They're not afraid to just wreck shop in your house. They went to New England, they went to Baltimore, and they almost went to Kansas City. They almost ran the full gamut last year. They're not afraid. They're disrespectful, and I love it. This team is for real. I'm convinced of it. Because you know what they've shown me this year? Last year, they showed me, hey, I can beat you by slowing you down, running the football, and playing ball control offense. What they showed me this year is that if I need to air it out, if I need to score 31, I can do that. If I need to put my foot on your throat and crush your larynx, I can do that and put 42 on your skull. If I need to get past some struggles and eke out a 16-14 victory, I can do that too. However you want it, you can get it. And they've shown me that this year. If they need to score 33, they can. If they need to score 16 and hold you to 13, they can. And that shows me that they're prepared for anything. They're any weather team are the COVID-19 Titans. So I got respect for them. And I think they are a team that could make some noise this year for sure. Iron Rain says, no hate from me. My heart is black for my Falcons as well. We suck, LOL. We do too, man. Don't feel bad. The only difference between me and you is one win. That's it. We got ours out of the way week 1. You didn't. And now you still searching. Like Roy Ayers, you out here searching. You searching, man. Hopefully you find what you're looking for. Ree says, should we get rid of Rojo and Shady and team up Leonard Fournette and Le'Veon Bell? No. I told you I like Rojo. He's inconsistent, but I like him. Shady's an old man, so you can get rid of him if you like. If you got rid of somebody, it'd be Shady, because Le'Veon can do everything that Shady can. Le'Veon's just not as dynamic as Shady. Even at his ripe old age, Shady is still a dynamic player, but Le'Veon can catch the football just as well as Shady can. You know, he's just not going to make people miss like Shady can, and I don't think he has as much juice left as Shady does, but Le'Veon is still a quality back. So it wouldn't shock me. That would be such a Tampa Bay dream team move to go out and get Le'Veon Bell. That would convince me even more that you're going to go 9-7 if you did that. Got 9 minutes left. Josh Norman is basically a one-year wonder. Nothing special. You know, the thing is, Josh Norman is actually a talented guy. He really is. The problem is there are certain guys in this league, and I laugh at these guys. I really do. I get a chuckle out of these guys because there's certain guys in this league who don't know the limits of their talent. They don't understand what they are as a football player. Like, you know why I respect the hell out of Dick Sherman? Because Dick Sherman knows exactly who he is as a football player. And that's why I can never get on board with Darrelle Revis and his hate and disdain for Dick Sherman. He's upset at Dick Sherman because people love Dick Sherman and they talk about how good of a corner he is. Yeah, he's a cover 3 corner. Who gives a shit? He knows he's a cover 3 corner, and he plays the hell out of that cover 3. You're not going to beat him deep. You're not going to get on top of him. You make a mistake in his direction, he's going to pick you off. He tackles well. He does everything he's supposed to do, and he doesn't go outside of what he is from a talent perspective and what he is as a football player. I love that. Josh Norman got full of himself after he got nice in Carolina and had that 1 year. He got full of himself. No, he's a talented guy. But he started thinking that he was bigger than Carolina and he was bigger than cover 3 and that he could run with guys. Bruh, you're a 4.58 40 dude. Don't play yourself. Like Dick Sherman never ever tried to convince somebody he was a 4.4 40 guy and that he could be running with the Julio Joneses and the Tyreek Hills of the world. He never ever lied to anybody and said, hey, look, man, you can match me up man to man. Let me travel. He never said that. He said, I know who I am. I'm going to play my side of the field. I'm going to play the hell out of this cover 3. You're not going to beat me deep. I'm going to keep everything in front of me. And if you make a mistake, I'm going to pick you off. You're going to pay for it. And what happened with Norman is he got big-headed. He started thinking, I'm Josh Norman, so I can run with A.J. Green. I can run with Odell Beckham. Put me one-on-one with Dez Bryant. Like, he can run with Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant isn't a burner either. He can't run with Odell Beckham. He can't run with A.J. Green. And that's what happened. We started matching him up with guys that could run. Terrell Pryor shredded him, tore him a new asshole that first year in Washington. Guys that could run, they were running right by his ass because he thought that he was a speedster all of a sudden. He convinced himself he could come up in a receiver's face, delete the airspace. What's good? Smell their breath. And then got mad when they would run by his ass because you a 4.58 dude and that guy's a 4.43 dude. Yeah, you about to get your ass smoked, Holmes. So, Josh Norman is talented. His problem is he started believing his own shit. People started telling him how nice he was. And he never had that reality check. He never looked himself in the mirror and said, hey, Josh, this is who we are as a football player. We need to stay true to ourselves. It is what it is. Anyhow, I digress. Got another comment here from Kevin the PRF. Says, Le'Veon Bell plus Kansas City and their second back. Reed can handle him. I guess he could fit there. I don't know if they need the distraction, though. Is he gonna straighten up and fly right in Kansas City just because he's with a winning organization? I don't know. But that would be a good fit for him. They don't really have a true backup running back in Kansas City. That's a really fair point. And he'd fit really well in that offense because of his versatility. That's a good pull, Kevin. Shit. Why not think of that? A typical brother. Oh, already read that. I appreciate you again, a typical brother. Captain Spartan 04 says, since I won't be on the pod tomorrow, I'll let you know I'm worried about my Steelers. Secondary ain't sharp. Hot Browns next week. And getting a lot of media attention. Getting scared. When you talk, I listen. Because 97.69% of the time when you tell me something about your Steelers that you're uneasy about, you're right. So, you got me nervous. You got me second guessing what I should do with the Steelers this week. I was not impressed last week versus the Eagles. I was not. So I understand your apprehension. You know your team better than anybody else that I've ever talked to that's a Steelers fan. So I trust you. So if you tell me that there's a problem, hopefully I can get in contact with you again before I turn my picks in on Thursday. Being that you're not going to be on the pod, I think that's all but impossible at this point, unless you jump on some kind of Washington show. At the end of the day, you got me second guessing. I'm going to think long and hard about my decision in that game. You're going to be home, if I'm not mistaken. The Browns have been home for like a month straight, it feels like. But they did go to Dallas recently, so they could be at home for that game. That's going to be a good one. Because that division all of a sudden is red hot, and every team in that division, sans for Cincinnati, has 4 wins. So that's going to be an interesting ball game. Got a super chat here from Protect Sports. Thank you for the super chat, Protect Sports. Greatly appreciate you. Protect Sports says, Louie, thanks for pulling up to the stream. Facts about Josh Norman, laughing my ass off. Hashtag Lab Room Fam. Hashtag Protect Fam. Hey, I appreciate you having me. And I wish I could have stayed longer. I got a phone call that knocked me off. I had so many things that I wanted to ask and, get the your response to it. So I appreciate you, answering my question and doing that stream. So look forward to chopping it up with you in the future. And again, if you haven't already subscribed to my man Protect Sports' channel, what are you waiting on? Not only is he a Redskins fan, or a Washington football team fan, but he covers the entire league just like I do. He does these fix my franchise series where he goes through every team in the league, and especially the bad ones, and he fixes the franchise. And so there's some good stuff there, man. So check my man Protect Sports out and give him some love if you haven't already checked out what he's doing on his channel. Thanks again for the super chat, Protect Sports. Let's see, where are we? We got 1 minute left. I think JP says, did the Raiders show us the blueprint for beating Kansas City on Sunday? No, they didn't. Because you know why? Because everyone doesn't have the Raiders' talent. Everyone doesn't have Tyreek Hill light or the great value version of Tyreek Hill. Not everybody has a quarterback like Derek Carr that is willing to cut it loose and let it go and give guys an opportunity down the field. Not everybody has another deep threat like Nelson Aguilar that can get vertical. Not everybody has a Darren Waller walking around. You can't replicate what the Raiders do because you don't have the Raiders' talent. You're not walking around with Josh Jacobs and Devontae Booker at the running back position. They've got guys with chips on their shoulders. Devontae Booker was cast aside by Denver. Nelson Aguilar was cast aside by the Eagles. They're getting another lease on life in Vegas, and they're taking full advantage of it. They're playing with the chip on their shoulder. The Raiders are talented. And, oh, by the way, the Raiders have a big, physical, nasty offensive line, and when those guys are healthy and they're playing at a high level, Derek Carr is going to be protected and allowed to push the football down the field. And that's what he was able to do against the Chiefs. Not everybody is capable of doing that. If you can, knock yourself out. Good luck, you're going to need it, but that's family business. You know how the family do it. Reese says, you think Shady still has good ball left? He hasn't been impressive at all, really. I do. I think look, the tank is at the quarter mark, and it's starting to trend towards the F line, okay? It's not a lot left in the tank, but it's enough to help you cross the finish line if you use them correctly. So, we'll see. He hasn't been impressive, but it's all about how you use them. Anyway, that's my time for tonight. I appreciate you guys joining me on the stream. Remember, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. I greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Make sure you hit that notification bell if you've already subbed up so you don't miss a thing. When I go live, you'll be there front and center, like tomorrow, for instance. Tomorrow, Louie T Network podcast, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're on live, chopping it up, talking about the National Football League, and we'll have a lot to talk about, including Le'Veon Bell and his dismissal from the Jets organization. We'll talk about this game and the total ass thrashing that was handed out by the COVID-19 Titans. And where does that leave the Bills after in the aftermath and wake of this beatdown? So much to discuss, and we'll get to your comments as well. Looking forward to chopping it up with you tomorrow live on the Louie T Network podcast. So make sure you turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing when I go live. You can be front and center. Make sure you hit that like button too. If you're out there and you haven't already done so, knock that like button out for me too. I really appreciate you guys. Big win for the Titans tonight. This was a statement game for them. In front of everybody, 13 Titans out tonight. Didn't make one bit of difference. 1 day of practice didn't make one bit of difference. Those boys were well prepared, well coached, ready to go, and they opened up and unloaded a can of whoop-ass on the Buffalo Bills of epic proportions as they get it done 42-16 over the Bills, knock the Bills from the ranks of the unbeaten. They'll bounce back. They'll be fine. I feel good about this Bills football team, but tonight was not their night. Too many mistakes, too many penalties, and this Titan team did not need your help as they now improve to 4-0 on the season due the Tennessee Titans. It's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. Look forward to chopping it up with you in the future. Hope you join me tomorrow on the podcast. Should be a lot of fun. Until then, you guys stay safe, take care, and I'll see you next time on the Louie T Network. Have a good one.
Louie T Network.